Hey everyone, super excited to be here because tonight I'm going to be talking about common mistakes that women make on the first date that cost them a second date. Hello, my name is Yonci and welcome to my channel Chasing Yonci, where I talk about all things love, dating, sex, and relationships. If these are topics that interest you, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and click that bell icon so that you can be notified every time I drop new content. I do my best to drop videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I go live every Sunday night at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is 7 Central and 8 Eastern. All right, we are going to get into a lot of stuff that I covered during my course. I did a course this past Saturday for a group of women, and we had a whole lot of fun. And one of the sections that they really enjoyed is a section that I explained things that you should not do on dates. So we are going to get into this. I want to talk first and give you guys a little bit of context. When I first got on the dating scene, I started to ask a lot of questions through my social media pages. And when I got information back from guys, I was a little bit perplexed. I was a little bit annoyed, to be perfectly honest, at the very beginning, because it seemed like current guys, were not up to pursuing women. It seemed as though they really wanted women to chase them, and it just was really confusing. But the more I asked questions and the more I kept an open mind, I was pleasantly surprised to learn that it wasn't that they had a problem pursuing women in general. They had a problem pursuing certain women. So I started to unpack different things. I started to ask questions. I started to take polls and surveys and get feedback. And I used that information that I got to compile a book. The book is called First Date 101. It is a man's guide to dating a man. I am not sure why the graphic is not working. Last week, the graphic stayed up the entire time. Y'all, you know I've been having technical difficulties sometimes, but you can find it on my website. It's First Date 101. It's a man's guide to dating men, because men are the only ones who can really explain things from a perspective that a male has. Hey, shout out to Bree. Thank you so much. Drop your city and state once you get in and get settled. I would love to see where you guys are watching from. So the good news is that most of the guys were okay with spending money on dates. They were okay with courting women. They just didn't like it when women would do certain things. And so I'm going to read you guys just a little passage out of the very beginning of the book. It says, although they were happy to court a woman and even wine and dine her, they all expressed a desire to feel like the effort being extended was mutual. Please understand, it takes a healthy dose of vulnerability for a guy to put himself out there and express keen interest in someone, so he can only go so far without reciprocation on her part, to let him know that he is, at the very least, on the right track. If we don't want him to be discouraged in his pursuit, then it is imperative that we let him know we appreciate his romantic gestures. I did a post today. Oh, Detroit, very nice, thank you. I did a post on Instagram today, and it really was received well. As soon as I posted it, I got so many men saying, thank you so much for sharing this. I couldn't have said it better. And that's my goal. I really want to explain where men are coming from so that we as women can take that information and use it to our advantage, okay? Because there are a lot of good women out there who just don't know better. I used to suffer from what I call this princess syndrome, and that's what I want to talk about tonight, so that you guys are not doing these things that are very off-putting to men. So as I was explaining, guys, as much as they seem strong and just like they're just so tough, it takes vulnerability to ask a woman out. It takes a lot of courage to risk being turned down. It takes a lot of courage to ask her out, knowing that she could say no. And it could be a really scary thing. So we have to do certain things to let the guy know that we are into him. It sounds really simple, right? It really is. But sometimes we just don't put ourselves in the other person's shoes, and therefore we don't know what to do to keep them going. So a lot of guys are out there confused with the little question marks over their head, like, is she feeling me or not? All right, so the number one issue that men have is a lack of reciprocity. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it's not about money. It's not about the fact that, okay, I bought one date, I want her to pay for the next date. It's not about that. It's not even as far as like you having to leave a tip, although some men said that they like that. And I even suggest that in the book if it's something that you would like to do. But What the issue is that the women are acting as though, and I call it princess syndrome because they're acting like princesses. If you understand, way back in the day, there used to be the royal court, and you would have court gestures that would come out for the sheer amusement of the royal family. They would come out and entertain the guests. So a lot of women are like the princess, just sitting back, and they're like, go ahead, court jester, entertain me. And if you entertain me enough, I will grant you, another date. That energy, that vibe is so off-putting. Can you imagine if a guy did that and was like, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, but I need to see if you're good enough. It's just not a good vibe. And the thing is that he's probably willing to do a lot of the things that you want, but you're turning him off at the very beginning. So I'm going to give you a couple of things, if you're taking notes, that you can definitely do, which are so small, but will really make a man excited and feel like you are worth the effort to keep going. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. That is the only way YouTube knows that you are enjoying this content, aside from watching it through the end. Hit that like button and it lets them know to send out the information to more people so that they can tune in. All right, so the first thing you can do is be punctual. Everyone knows that your time is your most valuable asset. So if a man takes the time to ask you out on a date, make sure you don't keep him waiting. The second thing is, and I would hope that none of the women watching this do this because I was horrified to find out what was happening, but don't waste food and drinks, okay? I've heard women joke and be like, oh yeah, I want to go to this restaurant because it's one I've never tried before. But a lot of times women are using dates to experience something that they themselves wouldn't pay for. They're using them as an opportunity to get a great meal. Perfect example. I was talking to one of the women during one of my classes, and she was saying that she's very disappointed a lot of times with the food that is served when she goes out to eat. And she said, why not just have him over and I can cook, or I can go over there? And I said, well, what is your purpose of the date? Is the purpose of your date to have a fine dining experience or to get to know this guy? And she realized, after I asked that, she said, yeah, the purpose is to get to know him. I said, okay, there's plenty of opportunities to be a foodie, but the first couple of dates, that's not the point. And so if that's your energy going in, a man is going to pick up on that, okay? It shouldn't matter really where he takes you. Obviously, you don't want to be in a place where you're not safe. You're worried about, going to be harmed going to your car, something like that. But aside from taking you to a really sketchy spot, you really should be open to where he's taking you, okay? So don't waste food. A lot of times, you notice with kids, if kids haven't had to pay for something, they're really greedy. They order everything, and you're like, come on, you're not even going to eat that. A lot of women will do that. They're getting the steak, they're getting the lobster, they're getting the entree, they're getting the appetizer, they're getting the dessert, they're asking for multiple drinks. Don't just go crazy because it's not on you. Guys are paying attention to this stuff, and it doesn't matter how beautiful you are. It's going to put a bad taste in their mouth. And obviously I was going to say, don't just look for the most expensive thing on the menu. Try to be a little bit sensitive. And again, this isn't about the fact that he can't afford it. So for the women who are like, well, if he has a problem with me ordering stuff, then he shouldn't bring me to this restaurant. It's not about that. It's about having tact. The other thing is, women were asking men to purchase additional meals to take home to their children. I can't make this stuff up, you guys. I cannot make this stuff up. Multiple men have stated that women have asked that. So for the love of God, if you want to make a good impression, please do not do that. That is not his job to take care of your children. If you have if the children's father is in the picture, that is their job to do that. If you don't have a child's father in the picture, that is your job to feed your child, not this new guy who's getting to know you. If he really is into you, down the road, he is going to want to take care of you and the children, because then you will be his responsibility. But at the beginning stages, he's just getting to know you. So that is not a burden that the man should be placing on a man's shoulders. The next thing that you should do is say thank you. Every chance you get, show gratitude. And this sounds so simple, but I wouldn't be making this video if I did not have tons and tons of men saying, my God, I can't even get a thank you, or you can't even tell if they're enjoying themselves. Even if you are not a match, even if you are less than impressed and you don't want to have a second date, you can still express gratitude for the fact that he took his time to take you out and he paid for everything, okay? It's like I said, most guys are still okay with paying for everything. The next one is be feminine, and I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on the feminine part because I really go into detail in my class. And all this stuff I go over in my class as well. So if you guys are signed up for next Saturday's course, I actually decided to put one more live course up. That's happening only on Saturday, and then after that the replay will be available. But be feminine. There are little things that you can do that make a man feel so good. The reason why guys are okay with spending money, lots of money sometimes over the course of a month, is because they love the feminine energy. If they wanted masculine energy, they would hang out with their boys. But they want that feminine energy, okay? So make sure that you do things like look him in his eyes, you know, try your best to laugh at his jokes. Don't patronize him, but be invested. Put your phone away unless you have, you know, you're a doctor and you're on call, or you have a child that there could be a dire emergency. But aside from that, don't be taking pictures of your food. Don't be scrolling on social media. It's just super, super off-putting. And sometimes I wish that women could switch gears with men for like 3 dates. And I think that if you were to be in their position, it would completely change your perspective on how you are with the guy. Also, dress to impress. I just saw right before coming on, I just saw a post about a guy saying that he was taking this woman out. He was picking her up. They knew each other well enough to pick her up. And when he showed up, she had on a bonnet and pajama pants. Now, there was something in the story about she had clothes in a bag or something like that. But ladies, you really don't understand how visual men are. You don't want to get to this place. I'm not saying that once you're married and whatever, you have to go through all these steps. But initially, you want to get him smitten. Once you get smitten, you can loosen up just a little bit, just like he probably is going to loosen up a little bit after you're smitten. But at the beginning, put your best foot forward. You're trying to do everything that you can to maintain his attention. As my older generation would say, keep his nose wide open, okay? So dress to impress. If you are comfortable wearing a dress, do that. Most men prefer dresses. Now, the exception could be if you have some really cute tight jeans and a cute top. But if you can, put on heels and a dress. They love that feminine energy. And the last thing that I would say as far as something that you can proactively do is send him a follow-up text afterwards, okay? So this guy has shelled out money. He's spent his time. He's not really sure how things went. Let him know. Just send a quick little text that said, I had such a good time tonight. I can't wait to do it again. Even if he's not someone that you want to see again, you could still say, I really appreciated your time. It was so nice spending the evening with a gentleman. I really wish we were a match. You know, unfortunately, I'm not really feeling it, but I had to let you know you were amazing. Let them know. And don't be afraid to say it during that night. Look at him and say, God, this is so much fun. I really am enjoying myself. They like to get affirmation. I don't like to sound like I'm patronizing men, but a good way to look at them is almost like a boy. Look at a boy and how excited he gets when his mom gives him affirmation. You did a good job. Mommy's so proud of you. It's kind of like the grown-up version of that. The man strives really, really hard to make a good impression on the woman, and so he wants to hear from her lips that he's doing a good job. A little attaboy goes a really long way. If you guys are following what I'm saying, drop me a comment. Give me an emoji, a thumbs up, something like that. Let me know you guys are tracking with me. All right, and if you haven't done so already, please smash that like button. You guys, let YouTube know that this is the type of content more people want to see, and it will push the notification of this live stream out to more people. All right, this is going to be a short one tonight, by the way, guys, so if people are coming in late, we're probably going to be signed off. Probably going to be about 30 minutes tonight. We're normally an hour, but tonight it's not a ton of stuff. Okay, so what not to do. Woo! Oh, thank you, Jacob. He said a thumbs up times 100. I love that. I love that. And you guys, even though most of my content is for women, I absolutely love feedback from men because it's one thing for me to say, hey, I'm speaking on behalf of men because I really am. I've done my research. But it's affirmation when you hear multiple men saying it, okay? So many pages are women speaking to women or men speaking to men, and there's no backing up by the opposite sex. There's no point in trying to bridge the communication gap if we're getting the message wrong. So keep letting me know, guys, if I'm speaking for you, and I will continue to try to do the good work of the Lord. All right, so we're going to get into the second section, which is what not to do, okay? Guys, again, I cringe even bringing these up because the people in my circle just don't do this. but I'm not going to say the men are lying because multiple men have said this. They said that women have asked for them to finance their grooming costs, okay? Now, this I'm talking about your hair, your makeup, your nails, your wardrobe, things like that. That is not his responsibility, okay? You guys are watching too many shows. You're listening to too many women teaching you how to finesse. Hey, Lance, thank you. That's not his responsibility. And you know, I've heard this argument like, well, it's expensive being a woman, and so you should. No, honey, I'm not getting my hair done just for a date. Okay, I'm gonna get my hair done no matter what. If I'm gonna get my nails done, I'm gonna get it done, period. And you don't have to get, you know, manicured nails from the salon. You could paint your own nails. I shouldn't even have to go into this. It's not his job out the gate, okay? If he wants to do that later, that's his prerogative, but it is not his responsibility. This is that entitlement that men are just so turned off by. And Lance says he has been definitely asked that. See, it's not okay. Please do not ever ask him to pay for child care, okay? How do I say this in a politically correct way? It is nice enough that a man is willing to date somebody who has children because that's a big responsibility. This is not judging. I'm just being very just direct, or what is the word? I'm being very literal. It is a lot to take on someone who has children with another man, especially if that man is living, if you understand how men think, because that means that man is still in the picture somewhat, okay? And it changes the dynamic. It is a blessing that you still have viable options of men who are willing to take you out, even though you have children. To ask them to pay for your babysitter is ludicrous. That is not his job. Again, if down the road he says, hey, I understand that every time we're going out, it's costing you $40, $50 for a sitter. I want to help you. Then okay. But do not ask him. Who raised you? Who's doing this? Oh my God, Jacob says, I've been asked for childcare, nails, food, hair, children, and other family members. See, this is not okay. Tilden says, it sounds like a reality TV show. Not real. It's a date, not a music video. Shoot. That's funny. I wish it wasn't true, but yes, these are real things that multiple men have said they have been asked, okay? And the other thing, I mentioned this previously, but I'm going to say it again. Do not ask him to pay for an extra plate for your kids to take home, okay? It's just tacky. It's super, super tacky. And so many guys are getting burnt out. These are good guys who are feeling like this is all of women. And then you have normal women who want a good guy, but now they're all burnt out and starting to go along like, maybe I should ask for 50-50. You know, it's just too much. Okay, the other thing that you should never, ever, 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 ever do is don't interrogate him, okay? Don't grill him about his past relationships, his life decisions. It's not your business. The very first date, you're just trying to see if there's even a vibe. So what you're doing is you're trying to see if he qualifies to date you. He hasn't even decided if he likes you yet, okay? So I'm not saying that one person, you know, is making the decision over the other person, but what I'm saying is you might go through and grill him and decide you like him, but sis, you've turned him all the way off. You're not even going to get a second date. So just pump the brakes and allow him to display to you what his vibe is like, and you display to him what your vibe is like. He said interrogation spotlight available on Amazon. Now that is funny. I should do a reel like that with like the police interrogation table and the light. Lance says, women will try to test you. I purposely fail every test. It's a no date, no class. Oh my God. Okay. What else? Okay. This one, it's a little bit funny, but I'm being serious. Don't be boring. Okay. Learn conversation skills. Watch, I don't know, like take a course, talk to somebody, learn how to have conversation. I'm going to toot my horn for a second, but one of the things that I have consistently been told, whether or not they feel the chemistry and want to date again, is that I can hold a conversation, okay? That might not be fair. That's what I do for a living, but I try to ask questions. I try to let the other person talk about themselves. Most people like to talk about themselves. So you just ask questions. You could be playful. You could be silly. Don't just be uptight. Nobody wants to sit across from someone who seems like they have a stick up, you know what. Just chill out. Talk. Smile. You know, keep it positive. Keep it fun. Which goes perfectly into this next one. Don't get heavy on the first conversation. Don't talk about all the guys who treated you badly, especially your exes. One, it makes you look like you were terrible at picking. But two, it makes him feel like, well, dang, why is she with me? Like, what's the pressure going to be on me? Act like it's normal to be treated well. Don't even go there. Don't talk about your exes, okay? Now Jacob is getting all into my notes here. He says, please, 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 just do not talk about work. I don't want to feel like I'm in a work conference call. That is one of the other things I want to talk about. Do not gush about your career accomplishments, okay? And if anyone is going to talk about careers, let him shine, okay? Let him have that. The reason why is not to patronize men. It's because men who have masculine energy, which women crave, all right? Feminine women crave masculine energy in men. They are the providers. So why are you highlighting your ability to provide? That's not something that is increasing your number, your rating, okay? He's looking at your femininity. He's looking at how playful you are. He's looking at how fun you are to talk to. He's looking at how beautiful you are. He's not counting your coins unless he's, you know, the kind of guy you don't want. So you don't need to go into your career and go on and on and on and on. You can keep it light and simple. You know, I'm so blessed. I have a job that I absolutely love to do. You know, they say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Keep it simple. Just keep it moving to the next subject, okay? Don't talk about what a mess you were, okay? This is not about, you know, putting on a representative and being fake, but it's like some things you don't need to talk about. Like, I'm not going to talk about what I did in the restroom right before I got here. Just some things are just not somebody's business on the first date. So don't talk about how screwed up you were and you got therapy and now you're doing better and you used to have abandonment issues and now you know, that's just too much, okay? Just don't go there. Don't talk about your flaws and insecurities. It kind of goes along with that, with the first one. Just talk about things that are simple, your hobbies. This is what you like to do, things that interest you. Keep it fun. And then finally, don't let the date go on forever. Now, here's a temptation. If you're having a lot of fun, it's tempting to want to just keep going and going and going. Same thing with phone calls. But ladies, little tip, leave a little something to the imagination. Leave him wanting a little bit more. So try to cap the date. Don't go on for like more than 4 or 5 hours, I would say. Cut it short if you need to. Let him know you have an early day the next day because, of course, you ladies, I'm sure you have lives and things to do. And don't make out at the end of the date, all right? You should not be groping each other in the parking lot, and you certainly should not be accepting nightcap invitations. Even if you're having a lot of fun, the chemistry is there, that is when you want to leave, okay? You want to leave him wanting more. But if he gets to have the entire experience on the very first date, he's not incentivized to keep going. And guys will act like they want you to keep going, but at the end of the day, their actions show you that that's not really what they want. It's like, you know, going after the candy, but you really want the real meal, but you'll take the candy anyway. Just don't give him the candy, all right? You have to be the ones that are responsible. Pace the situation. Allow him over time to develop actual feelings for you, because what's going to happen is you're going to put the cart before the horse, and then you're going to blame him when he goes too far, and then eventually after his 90-day discovery phase, he realizes he doesn't like you, then you're going to call him an F-boy because he slept with you, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about with the 90-day discovery phase, you need to go back and watch my video that I just did called the 90-day discovery phase. Okay? So I know I'm rattling off a lot of stuff quickly. You probably have to go back and watch it because I'm just trying to get this out of here. Like I said, this is going to be a short one. Trying to keep this one under 30 minutes. But I'm doing my best to give it to you as much as I can. Okay, guys. So this is a segment that I decided to take a portion that is from my course. It is called Make Dating Fun Again. I launched it last Saturday, which was actually yesterday. It feels like it's been so long because a lot has happened since then. But I'm really excited to say that I've been getting the feedback from women. I gave them a rating system, and I've been getting 5 out of 5s. I have been getting a lot of really good feedback from it. I unpack a lot. It's about 2 hours, and I give you a lot of really meaty stuff to chew on, lots of homework. And I also offer coaching one-on-one. If you guys want to work with me directly, I also have that as well. So anytime you want to reach out to me, you could do so through Instagram. Just DM me. I am very good at checking my messages. Jacob says, Coach Yonci dropping gems today. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really, you guys, just going to be real candid. I really feel for people because I post things sometimes on my Instagram. I should say I post things on Instagram, and sometimes I see comments like today, a guy said, you know, there aren't women like that out here, or women aren't going to read this, or whatever. And I don't want you to be discouraged. I know what it feels like to feel that there is pee in the dating pool. And while that's true, there are, you know, traces of it. There are still a lot of really good people. And if you find that you are struggling with a lot of the things that I'm talking about, don't be discouraged. Everybody can get to where they want to be. I was the worst princess of them all. I had the most serious princess syndrome, and I think that I've elevated a lot. But there's still a lot further that I have to go, and that's where I get my content. When I overcome something, I come back and try to teach everybody what I've learned, but I know that there's still levels and levels and levels to this. So continue to work on yourself. If you're a person of faith, continue to pray for your future spouse because they need it, y'all. It is rough out here, and you have to stay strong. Do not allow past relationships or past dating experiences to make you feel like you want to give up hope. B says Detroit got it bad. Oh no. Jacob says I miss fun dates. And here's the thing, a lot of times you can vet people for the most part through phone conversations. Okay, like even if you're on a dating app, I really like Hinge, for example, because it has an actual phone and FaceTime feature, a video call feature that is built in so that you don't have to give out your number to tons of people, but yet you can talk. You can learn so much more when you hear a person talking in real time, and you can learn even more when you see their body language. So for me, I like to have like an icebreaker date before I commit all that stuff to going out and meeting in person, because if you have kids, that is a babysitter, that is gas, it is time. Time is your most valuable resource. So start pre-screening. A lot of times when we hear these stories, these horror stories about these people that others have dated, the first question I would ask is like, how did they stay in your life so long? So we have to own a little bit of our part, okay? If we're allowing this person in our life so long to the point we're getting bitter, that's a little something that we need to work on and consider. We need to up our filters. We need to get a little bit more honed in on what's going on. And maybe you need to discover whether or not you've got a little bit of desperation, because that desperation will make you drop your what is the word? Your criteria a little bit, and you'll start letting in all kinds of riffraff that doesn't need to be. I can learn almost everything I need to know in talking to a guy between like 5 and 10 minutes, because a lot of the big red flags come right out. You can tell by the stuff that he's asking you, and you can tell by the stuff he's not asking you. All right. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. Like I said, it's gonna be really short and sweet. It's actually 28 minutes in, so I stayed within my goal of 30 minutes. You guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, we say no blind dates, video chat first, always. Yes, this is the God's honest truth. Thank you guys for the comments. Follow me on Instagram. That's where it's kind of like my newsletter, I guess I would say. Any major announcements and things like that, you're gonna catch it in my stories. I try to give as much free stuff as I can in my content. And also, you guys, I have 3 sponsors for spots for my course, okay? And those of you who ask me about the sponsored seats, please make sure you actually need it. If you can afford to pay for it, because there are other people who really can't afford to pay for it. I had one woman break into tears when she found out that she was picked for a sponsored seat, and she said, you have no idea what I'm going through. I just got a brand new job. I couldn't afford it, but I really, really want to come. So there are 3 spots, but please don't just take it just because it's free. Leave it for someone who really needs it. If you can afford to get it, you know, just get your spot and leave those for the sponsored ones. But shout out to my 3 sponsors for this go round. You guys are amazing. Okay, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Until next time, tell someone that you love them.